Hey, what's up, guys? This is Nerd Taku Podcast. I'm your host, Eli. Joining me today is my good friend and co-host, Ben.
Hello, listeners. Very happy to be here.
We'd like to thank all our listeners for tuning in to this week's episode. We are two guys reviewing media entertainment on a 0.25 scale that we came up with that interprets all media adding up to 10. We watch it so you don't have to. Spoiler warnings ahead. Ben, my guy, are there spoilers?
Oh, definitely.
Major spoilers ahead for this week's episode is Tokyo Godfather. Directed by Satoshi Kon, English main cast, Shakina Nafakt, John Avner, Candace Moore. Ben, how are you doing this week? How's the Ben?
Pretty good, just coasting by.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know I have a cold, so this is it's a little bit of a cold season. It's the general cold everyone gets around November to February. Everyone gets one.
I also have one, so that's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's the two cold brothers. Just coughing and dying. But we'll do our best not to sound like total ass. So today's episode is episode 8. We are reviewing the anime movie that came out in 2003 called Tokyo Godfathers. Okay, Ben, I want to ask you the question. Initially, when you heard the title, Tokyo Godfathers, what were you thinking?
I don't really know. I was like, okay. I was looking at the poster, trying to understand it, and I'm just like, I don't know what this movie is trying to say. There's 3 people on the cover holding a baby. But that's all, and I didn't understand what the title meant, but yeah, I was like, okay, let's go for it.
It didn't make sense when you first watched it. Like, look at the poster. It was like, what is going to happen? What is this story? And then we read the synopsis of what the story is on IMDb, and we're like, okay. Then we gave the trailer a shot, and it made absolute no sense still. So we got a little bit of a what's going to happen, but nothing really. But the synopsis of this one is: on Christmas Eve, 3 homeless people living on the streets of Tokyo discover a newborn baby among the trash and set out to find its parent. From that, you get a basic idea of what the story is.
Yep, that is the story.
But when you walk into this, when you start this, it was weird in the beginning, but it made sense when you start watching more.
Yeah, you had to go further through the show to really understand what's going on.
And there were so many plots. There were so many intertwining plots that you didn't understand, that they're like, you see a little glimpse of something. You're like, what's that? What's happening? Are you kidding me? They're having this. They're doing this. What?
Yeah, it just kept intermingling, and you're just like, wait a minute. What about this story? Oh, okay, now we're going over onto this. What? Oh, now we're onto this. Oh, now it all comes together. Okay, that makes more sense. But you have to get through the film to understand anything that's going on.
One thing I found very interesting about this film, because of the time it came out, was that they openly had a transgender character. And during that time, it was very like taboo in like Japanese culture to like show that. And I found it very interesting, and actually it worked very well throughout their story that they wanted.
I agree. It was a kind of shocker at the beginning. I was like, oh, okay. 2003, that's, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
And then, but yeah, the way that Hana went through the story, it was not upsetting.
It wasn't upsetting at all. No, I actually found it to work really well with the story. The director of this film was Satoshi Kon, right? Khan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I butcher names all the time. But the direction this director went was very different than what I was thinking. And I don't know. I felt like this movie had a lot to digest. Would you say the same?
Yeah, I really would. It had quite a bit going on throughout, and but the way he tied it all together, it worked.
Yeah, and it was like a what the hell? How did you get this to work?
Right? Because at the start, you're just like, there's so much going on. I don't know where I'm supposed to focus. And then as you continue watching, it just kind of molds itself in. And it's like, how the hell did you get that to work?
Yeah, and how the hell did you get like that old man's storyline to work with this person's storyline? And the little girl's storyline ties in together with her father. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it just a lot better than I was expecting.
It was a lot better, but it's an experience.
Truth.
Okay, let's go down our list of let's go down the list. Yeah, let's go down the list. So, story and plot. I gave it with the confusion of the story and like how you had to mingle, tie everything together, it worked itself out at the end, but I gave it a 0.5.
I also gave it a 0.5.
Ultimately, it was a good story. Like, it was a concrete story. It was a great art piece. This is a great art piece of a movie. Like, I think my favorite character probably in this one was either the drunk dad figure or honestly the woman, the transgender. I forget her name. Hana. Her name is Hana. My apologies.
You're talking about Gin and Hana.
Yeah, Gin and Hana. And Hana, I liked the character in the end, but in the beginning, it was like she was baby hungry and like killing for this edge, and then Jin was just trying to figure out life and just live homeless.
Yeah, Hana was kind of hard to connect with at the start, but as you went further through the story, you're just like, man, I feel for her. Like it felt you wanted her to have what she wanted. You got connected to her really quick.
Yeah, it threw me off guard. It threw me into left field when I knew about the little girl stabbing her dad. I was like, holy shit, that's a twist I never thought I would see.
Yeah, Miyuki.
Yeah, Miyuki just stabbing her dad because she was frustrated with him not listening. I'm like, my God, you have some bipolar issues.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, 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 what the hell?
Yeah.
You ran away after you stabbed your dad. Didn't kill him, by the way, but you stabbed him. You're like, wait a minute. What? Just because he's not listening to you?
Mind you, he is like a head detective, like a head police officer.
Yes.
And it gets worse because he could send his daughter to jail for attempted murder.
He wouldn't.
No, I don't. I hope not.
He spent the film looking for her.
Well, yeah, looking for her, going, is that you? Is that you? Oh my God. And then at the end you see her, it's like, oh, hi Dad. What's up?
Well, even when they were in the trains across from each other when they stopped from the snowstorm, he was like trying to get out of that train to get to her. He wanted her back, and she wanted nothing to do with it because she stabbed him. She was scared.
Yeah, she jumped out of a window going, yeet, later.
I'm out.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, the story was just too much tangling. And we're not even getting into the storyline of Hana working at a drag bar and like leaving because she had assaulted one of the customers. Like, that's a storyline.
Yeah, she assaulted the customer and ended up taking off. I don't remember the exact story of that, but
it was because the guy was being an ass. She had attacked the customer, and then she's like, I can't do this anymore, I'm sorry, and then ran. And then the owner's like, no, don't leave, and then just went homeless. Didn't feel like she was wanted back there.
Yep, that was her backstory.
Yeah. And then Jin's was just like, he was an alcoholic, owned a bike shop, and bet too much money and all this stuff, and his daughter really doesn't know him.
Right. So I remember his story real well. He was an alcoholic gambler, had many debts, and instead of paying off his debts, he ended up running. So he became homeless, and he would tell a bunch of different stories about how he became homeless because he didn't want people to know the truth. And when they end up in the hospital, that's where he ends up reconnecting with his daughter, Kyoko.
Yeah.
And things just kind of work out.
So that was the plot of the three main characters, and that was just see how much convoluted it was. And
That was just scratching the surface because you're not even getting into Yasuo, who is the
lady who stole the baby.
the dad of the the Yasuo was the husband of the lady who stole the baby.
Yeah, and his gambling addictions, and oh my gosh. I think this film really did show like what Tokyo's lifestyle, what Tokyo's real world of like homelessness and like gambling and the realities of it. And it's actually pretty serious. Like you see a lot of marriages crumble because of their gambling addictions.
You do, you really do.
And it's crazy to see like someone so hungry for a child.
Sachiko, that's her name. Sachiko is the lady who stole the baby and then ended up abandoning the baby in the garbage. And then it's just so there's just so much to the story. They go all over the place and then they come together. It's good how it was done, but it was kind of confusing throughout.
Yes,
so that's why I gave it a 0.5 because you had to really pay attention to follow it.
Same, I agree. You have to really pay attention to understand. Like at some point, I think Hana throws up blood, and you're like, "Why?"
Yeah, and then it doesn't even explain why.
No, and I was like so freaking out. Like, is it because of AIDS? Is it because of herpes? Is it because of a disease?
She ends up in the hospital
because of exhaustion
after puking as much blood as she ended up puking too.
Yeah,
but it doesn't explain why she was doing this. So
no, it doesn't make sense. So
there's that.
The story was so intense yet so confusing and made sense at the end, and it hurt my brain.
Here's the thing: I watched it English dubbed. If I had watched it subbed, I would have been so fucking confused.
I'm out.
There's no way I could have followed this story. No way.
No. And that was like so recommended. We are recommending that if you don't know fluent Japanese, I'm gonna say this now. Go to the dub. It's way easier to follow.
Yes, I concur.
Acting and voice acting.
I gave that a 1.
I give it a 1 too. I really like the voices that they had for the characters. It was really nice. I thought Hana's voice was a little harsh at some point.
Very annoying.
Yeah. Oh,
Hana was good to it was you could connect with her, but she was really, really hard to listen to. Her dialogue just kind of it was not easy to listen to.
No, it wasn't easy to listen to at all. It was kind of a rough cut. Gin, that's his name, right? Gin?
Yep, Gin.
He was just that growly old man voice.
Yeah, the one that you hear in most shows where it just kind of growls.
He's like, "Oh, my daughter. I lost her due to gambling."
Yep.
Yeah, but the voice was really cool. And all the other voices were basically like just your typical voices, but it worked very well.
I agree. It was a good voice act.
For me, the most recognizable voice was Mikasa's. What was that her name? Mikasa's? No, Miyuki's father was the most recognizable voice to me. I don't know what he was from, but he was the most recognizable.
Well, why don't I look it up?
I didn't really look up his name. I was just trying to figure it out in my head. Like, who is the voice of that?
Let's see.
That's the Japanese voice cast. I hate when they, props to IMDb, the show, the Japanese ones, but most likely, can you like show the dub ones as well? Show a little love.
He's not even listed.
Are you serious?
Nah, he's not listed.
That's rude. That's so rude. That is so rude.
I can't find him.
Oh my god, that is hella rude. Oh my gosh.
Mitsuo is listed. Why isn't the dad listed? I mean, granted, he only has like 3 lines in the film.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. That is very weird. Hold on. I have no idea.
Huh. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. But overall, the voice acting was top notch. It was so good.
I agree. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. So now, character development.
I gave that a 0.75
All right, I want to know why. I gave it a 1.
because the Hana didn't really have much development throughout, except for saying or giving the baby away. Like she wanted to keep it, but she realized she couldn't. Miyuki and Gin were the ones that had. Heck, Gin is the only one that really had any real character development. He found his daughter, or even before he found his daughter, he's like, "I'm not gonna do this. We're just gonna return the baby." And then they're like, "No, we gotta keep the baby, and we're gonna." Or he wanted to give the baby to the police, and then Hana convinced him to help her find the baby's parents. So they did. And then throughout, he's like he gets the shit kicked out of him when all he did was help an old man with his last dying breaths. And then he finds that paper that has the towers where they need to go, and he chases these people off because they steal it from him, and he gets the shit kicked out of him again. And then he finds his family, his daughter, and like he had a lot of development. Miyuki, not so much. She continuously ran, never connected with her dad, didn't try to connect. She did at one point call him and then hang up the phone when she heard his voice. The development she had was she didn't want to keep the baby, and then throughout she ended up taking care of the baby, and then she finds her dad at the end. Hana, the only development she had was, okay, I will go ahead and give this baby to who it belongs. That's all. There wasn't a lot. So Gin had the most.
Gin did have a lot of development where from the moment he got the absolute shit kicked out of him with those guys who were drunk and they were like, "Oh, we're going to beat up a homeless dude. Let's do it." Because they're bored. Really? Bored? That's it? You guys are dumbasses. But okay. But I thought Hana had a really interesting development because in the beginning she was like, "No, this baby's mine. I'm gonna keep it. Yeah. Like whatever. Just keep the child. We don't give a shit." And then over the film, she realizes more and more that she could never fill in the mother's shoes. She'll never ever fill in that void that the child needs because she's not. To her, she wants to be able to raise the child herself with like her own milk and all that, and she won't ever have that opportunity. So she has a real hard time connecting with the child and knows that this child will never be hers. So fighting that mom was the only way she was going to find, like, I think, solace in the whole journey of it. And when she gave up the child to that fake lady, it was like, oh, there's relief. And then she realized she screwed up hard. And then ran as fast as you can. You see her just going in that car, just driving, telling that taxi driver, "Hey, go."
Poor taxi driver. He was pulled into all this shit.
Honorable mention to the taxi driver. He was top notch. He was like, he's like, "I can't step any faster." "Go faster." Okay.
Fucking plows through a building. Starts driving on the mall or whatever that is on the ground floor to catch up to.
Oh yeah.
So great.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I also give him an honorable mention.
Yeah. Miyuki, I found her development, like you said, to be really just lackluster. You saw her inner toil with the fact that she stabbed her dad. We're never gonna get over that this girl stabbed her dad with just a butter knife. It wasn't like, "Oh, we're going to use a nice sharp knife." No, she used a dull bitch. Like, ugh, we're going to stab that fucker. It's like, Jesus, there's some like actual intent to kill. Felt like. But then you see her running away from her problems and all this stuff. And then she gets kidnapped, Also, that's another plot line. She got kidnapped.
Not even a big deal. Like, she just shakes it off because she gets in this building with this mom who's feeding one baby and ends up feeding Kyoko the baby. And then she connects with these people like it's no big deal and then just walks out like nothing happened.
Exactly. Like she got kidnapped at a party where the driver that drove him to the party got stuck under his car. So the three homeless people helped him get out. And he's a mob leader going to his daughter's wedding. See the plot lines. Oh my, they're everywhere. And it hurts my brain in so many ways. So many ways. But no, overall, I thought, like you said, Gin had the best development, coming to terms with his daughter, and that little outburst from Hana, that was not expected from at the hospital, where she's like, "You lying son of a bitch, you piece of shit."
And then she ended up doing that so that they would actually connect properly.
Yeah, that was kind of.
I was like, what? Okay, I guess being told the actual truth is gonna help Gin connect with Kyoko somehow, but whatever.
Now we're on sound and music.
I gave that a 1.
I gave that a 0.75.
Why?
Okay, this music to me was not it was lacking in so many ways. It was just like, I didn't feel the energy at some points. Near the end, the music was like, oh, okay, we're picking up the pace. Yeah, that's great. But then it's like in the middle, the movie had its moment where it was just, it felt like the music was flat. The middle of the film, it was just felt like everything was trying to tie together in through this confusion, and the music just fell flat, in my opinion. I couldn't connect with it. It wasn't bringing the story up. It wasn't bringing the story down, though. It wasn't bringing the story up.
Okay, I can see where you're going. I think I focused more on the opening and towards the end than I did in the middle, and that's why I gave it a 1. So I can see why that should be. It was pretty lackluster. You're right. So I agree. I think I will drop that down to a 0.75 as well. It didn't really bring a lot of support to the story like what you want through music.
Yeah, I know you want support throughout the story. And when they were in the bar, I was expecting a little like soft jazz, a little more, but no, it was just it was nothing.
Yeah, I concur. Okay, I was focusing more on the end and like how when they were on top of the building and Miyuki is holding on to Sachiko. When up on the rooftop when she's holding Sachiko, because Sachiko was going to jump with her and Miyuki in her arms, and that music like intensified and it kind of brought chills and support to your story plot. That's what I was focusing on, but I didn't really think about the middle where there was nothing. So I do agree with bringing it down to 0.75.
Also, just backtrack note, I did drop my character development. You did bring up some solid points about how some of the development really didn't bring a lot of life to the ending arc of the story, and I brought mine down to a 0.75 as well. So, cinematography and animation.
I gave that a 0.75.
I gave that a 0.75. I felt, okay, I'm not discrediting 2003. It was a great year for anime. Like, you got Big O, you had the original Fullmetal Alchemist come out. You had I think Naruto was in its first years of its life. Bleach was going strong. Actually, no, Bleach didn't start till 2004. You had One Piece going strong. Like, you had some solid titles. I just felt like the movement of the characters was a little rough. Felt a little stiff.
I agree. And one thing that really bothered me is the way they animated Hana when she gets angry. I was like, what are you guys like? Your art style is unique and the way you're doing it is pretty dang good, but I don't like the way that you're animating Hana. And it was mostly just Hana and Gin when they like got flustered and angry, like just the way their faces were drawn, the art was done. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I felt the same. It felt a little stiff, felt a little much, and it felt really uncomfortable at some points.
Way too exaggerated. Let's say that. Way too exaggerated.
Yes, way too exaggerated. That is the key.
You can show anger and frustration just in a normal face, but the way they did it, they like extended her mouth and her chin came out, and same with Gin, his mouth went big and chin came out. And I'm just like, I get that it's supposed to be anger and frustration, but I've seen plenty of animes that show that where they hardly even restructure the face at all.
I think they were going for that like Japanese TV show vibe. I think the more exaggerated and more.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I couldn't connect with it. I didn't like it.
Of course, realistically, when I watched the trailer, I thought the movie came out like 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago.
Agreed, I did too.
Yeah, not almost 20 years ago. To think about that, it's been out for almost 20 years.
Yep.
It's crazy, but no, yeah. And I thought the shots they did, some of them were cool. I thought the chase scenes were really cool. I thought the light coming up that next morning, that come to Jesus moment where Hana holds that what flag thing and floats down.
Yeah, after they're falling and all of a sudden the wind gushes up and she can just kind of float down. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the animation was done well. I just couldn't get around the way they did the facial structures.
Yeah, I know it was rough. It was a little rough. Directing.
I gave that a 0.5.
Ooh, I gave that a 0.75. I want to know why you gave it a 0.5.
We already talked about it in the plot. It was just too many stories, way too many stories in one go. If you want to put that many stories in a go, it's got to be a series. You cannot make it into a movie.
My question to you about that's an excellent point. Would you watch it as a series?
I would, if they separated the plot out evenly throughout.
Do you think it could have made an 8-episode series, or do you think it would have made that much?
Oh, easily. They can go into Hana's backstory. They could go into Miyuka's backstory, Gin's backstory. They could go into, I always forget her name, Sachiko's backstory.
Sachiko's backstory. Yeah. Yeah, you could see.
Easily. They could easily, because they just glimpsed across her backstory. Like, they were talking to the neighbors, and they kind of explained how Yasuo always had bruises because Sachiko would attack him, and she wanted a baby so bad, but it never happened, and so she ended up stealing. Well, it did happen, but the baby died, so she ended up stealing a baby. But like, there's so much in this one movie that they could easily make it a 12-episode anime. Easily.
Yeah, they could. I agree with you there.
That's off topic, but as I was saying, yeah, there's so much in it that I give him props for bringing it all back together towards the end where everything kind of connects, but it's just really hard to follow.
It is.
And if I wasn't watching it dub, there's no way I could have followed this story. No way.
I agree totally. It was one of those stories where you had a lot of concentration you had to put into it. When I watch a film, I want to be able to entertain myself. And with this film, I think the director wanted, like I said in the beginning, art piece. This was an art piece to the extreme. And I fully think that he wanted to add this much story to bring the depth of his art to life.
I think you're right. And it was just a little too much.
Yes, a little strong, a little hard, but I liked near the end how he was tying things together. That was the thing that got me to give it a 0.75, was that everything tied like magically. Like, what the hell?
Right. It just kind of connected towards the end. And so you're like, I mean, great, we have closure, but like,
that's ultimately what I want. I just wanted closure. I just want some closure.
Right?
I just wanted closure.
Exactly. And so you're just like, I liked it. I really did. But it was just too much for one film.
Did you pause the film at any point?
I did.
Okay.
A couple times.
That's when I realized that when it loses points is when I pause the film. To go, what the hell?
Yeah. Where you have to like think about it. So I had to pause at a couple spots because the plots were everywhere. So I'm like, wait, hold on. How does this connect to this? And who are you? Oh, okay. I think I'm kind of getting it. Play, watch it through, pause. Wait a minute. Now I'm even more confused because this doesn't even match up with this line.
How did you bleed? Like, what? Why you?
Why are you bleeding? Like, what?
And you're drinking now. Why are you drinking after you just puked? Why? Made no sense.
It was a rough one. Like, great story. I really do like the story. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to deter you from this story because it is a really good story. It's just so much packed into one film that it's hard to follow.
Yeah, don't be sick when you watch this. You gotta focus. That mental sharpness gotta be there.
I can't agree with you more.
The mental sharpness gotta be there. If it's not there, you know what happens? You just sit there and go, "What attraction?"
I gave that a 1.
I gave it a 0.5.
Oh, really? Why?
So, okay, I'm gonna say this: Hana is a tough character to get behind. She is hard. She is loud. She is her voice is very harsh, and because of the attraction of the story wasn't there. Like, Hana was a great character, don't get me wrong. If you look at this as an art piece, she was phenomenal. Like, one of the best characters in this story. Like, she transcended with Gin. And yeah, she transcended. But if you look at this as a normal film, no, she is annoying as shit. And I will literally just walk away from this film. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that in the first 20 minutes of this film, I looked at this as not a film. It was a movie that had to be looked at as an art piece. I don't think I would have stayed watching.
Okay. Mine is, I mean, you're right, but I think that the art of the way it's drawn, the way it's animated, and how it goes throughout Tokyo and shows you the underbelly of Tokyo, really. Like, it shows you how homeless people are all over the place, what their living conditions are, how they're treated. I liked seeing the underbelly of where they lived, you know?
You like the rawness of it. You love the fact because
Right.
we're anime fans. We are devoted otakus, and like we do thoroughly enjoy like the world of Japan. We love the culture. We love all that. But the thing is like you don't see the dark side of it, and this movie really shines on the dark side of it.
Agreed. And with the points you brought up about Hana, I think I will drop mine to a 0.75 instead of a 1. But I have to keep it at 0.75 because I was attracted to the darkness and the dark underbelly of the world that they live in and how they're treated and how much struggle they have to survive.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
know, I agree
So
with you there.
I'll drop mine to 0.75 because of how difficult it is to connect with Hana.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like if you don't look at this as a true art piece of this man's soul, you're not gonna. Hana's hard because it's something that, and I know a lot of people think it's gonna be because of the personality and the high strongness. It's like it's more than that. It's more the fact that with that high strongness, she was aggressive, and it was a little too much, to be honest. Dialogue.
I gave dialogue a 0.75.
Same. I thought it wasn't there. The lines were just a little, they didn't connect.
The humor is what brought mine up. So like
Humor was solid.
I liked at the very beginning when they're getting their soup. She's like, Hana's like, "Is this all there is, honey? Cause can I get an extra portion? I'm eating for 2." Even though you know she's not pregnant, but later on,
Yeah,
you see the person coming down the escalator and she has a baby, and she's like, God really does work miracles.
yeah, that was the best. That was the best part of that film.
That made me laugh so hard. And there are a couple of other really really funny parts, but that one is what really stuck with me really strongly.
Yeah, no, that part was super good. I thought that humor was just classic humor. But beyond that, there wasn't really much.
No, there was just a lot of yelling out of Hana, you know, between Hana and Gin, and they split up, like they separated from each other like 3 different times, I think. And it was all because of anger and yelling at each other, and I just, you know, it's just too much.
One was because of a hostage situation. You got to remember that.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, you got to remember one got kidnapped. So, and then the other two are just anger management episodes. But that's it. That's like, okay. Yeah, the dialogue, it's just a lot of yelling, a lot of cussing at each other and just forget you're a bitch, and yeah.
To be honest, the best dialogue came from the supporting cast. The old man who says, "Give me one last dying wish," and Gin's like, "You want a drink?"
Yeah.
Yes, and he takes a drink. Then he says it again, and then again, and then he finally hands Gin his sack of money the whole freaking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, the old man had the funny dialogue. The taxi driver, I mean, I can't even express how much fun it was watching this taxi driver.
He was so intense. I loved it.
He was I can't go any faster. Faster. Okay.
I loved it. I loved it. It was so good.
Hey, my fare. Keep it running. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Or Hana starts hitting on him because she doesn't have enough fare, you know, and he and just his facial expressions and the cringy he feels.
Yeah.
But like I said, the best dialogue came from the supporting cast. There wasn't much from throughout. So
Yeah, no, the supporting cast was really the strong suit of this film. And I think that's what makes this film unique, is that it's the supporting cast that made the story. It wasn't the 3 main people. If you look at it, so the taxi driver made it funny, had some funny moments. The old guy made Gin remember that he got to be a little humble. And remember, the old man's dying. What? Okay, let me help the old man. Generosity. And then you have the lady from the bar, the owner, who was like, Mama, who literally was like, you are an angel. Remember.
Yep.
That you can come here anytime. We love you. And it's like, hey, I feel love, man. You see that intertwining connection? And then they showed the scene of her singing, Hana singing, and just going beating ass. Ugh. And it's like, oh, okay, aggression. I see you have anger issues. Anger's your name. Ah. But Hana was just anger throughout the whole thing.
That's true. I completely agree with that. She shouted a lot.
A lot. I scream. Shout. Out. Okay. Scenery.
Actually gave that a 1.
I gave it a 0.5.
Why?
I felt so, like you say, the dark undertones are really nice and all that, and I thought it was great, but that's it. We saw it. Dark undertones, and dark undertones. Even at the end, it was dark undertones. The hospital was the only gleaming light moment in this whole film. I mean, yeah, there was light in the trash area when they found the baby, but it was dark undertones after dark undertones. Even when that baby stealing woman, I forget her name all the time, was trying to commit Sachiko, trying to commit suicide. Dark undertones. Nothing in this film. It was just dark. Even those gleaming moments of joy that they showed, it was just dark. I didn't find any scenery to be woo exciting. That was just a thing. I like the snow. I really did like the snow when they were walking through after they dipped the train. Like, I really did like that tone of the colors, and like I liked the feeling that they were actually covered in snow. But that was really it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop it. You're right. I don't even know what I was doing with the 1. I'm gonna have to give it a 0.5. You're right. It's just dark.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah. But remember, the story does speak louder than its scenery.
It's true, but scenery is kind of important.
It is. But if you think about it, in this scenery, we weren't looking for the scenery. We were looking for the character in the scenery. We are looking for that character, and you're focusing on that character because they're yelling a lot. So you can't forget.
True.
They're screaming. So you can't miss that. I think the one cool scenery thing was the cardboard box. Their house.
Their house?
I like the inside. The inside was they made it homey, made it a little nice. And then they never went back to it again.
Truth.
First 20 minutes. Yeah, that's where the scenery just went. Woo!
Pew!
We hit a bogey, double bogey, and now we're in a quad bogey. So yeah. Recommended.
I gave that a 0.5.
I gave it a 0.75.
I gave mine a 0.5 because you have to really want to watch a dark, gringy, not super, it's not even a happy anime, and you have to really pay attention to this show. Again, it goes all over the place. You cannot get distracted or you will be confused. And so I can't really give this a recommendation to anybody who doesn't focus when they watch a show. Because I know a lot of people that do other tasks while they're watching something. And if you're not entirely focused on this, you're not going to understand it.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. When I say art piece, like I can't
you can't express it enough.
This movie is this man's soul in a film.
True.
You have to realize that this guy projected something out, like homelessness. It is a horrible thing, but in the gleaming lights of darkness, not every homeless person's bad. So you have to look at it like that. He was trying to show that every homeless person isn't bad. Yeah, people are jerks, and they'll kick the crap out of you because you're homeless. It's rude. It's disgusting. But you see more and more people getting homeless because they're gambling addictions, and they're showing why people are homeless, and they're showing what makes you homeless. Like her leaving the bar because she beat up a dude, and the girl and Miyuki stabbed her dad, so she ran away. And then he had gambling and drinking problems, so he was just kicked out on the streets and ran away. It was a running away story. It was homeward bound in a Japanese setting with homeless people.
Good way to put it.
And with alcoholism, okay? It's homeward bound with alcoholism and Japanese people. So you have to look at it as that. That's why I give it a 0.75, is because if you look at it with the art piece intention and you really focus, I mean, this film, I paused 4 times to understand the storylines. If you willingly want to give this a shot, go ahead. It's great. It was a fantastic, confusing, convoluted story. But it's an art piece. Don't look at it as a fun time. You're looking at this as a college project.
See, I did love the story.
Yeah.
When it all came together, it was a great plot line. It made sense. But you have to pay attention throughout to understand everything that comes together at the end. And that's really hard for a lot of people to do.
You don't realize at the end that he won the money.
No, you
don't realize that he had the winning lottery ticket in his pocket. You don't realize that, Miyuki, her father had no resentment. And then, you didn't realize they were going to be godparents until the end. We want them to be our godparents.
The reason it's called Godfathers is because
they're godparents.
At the end, when they finally found the real parents, they go to their hospital room and they're like, a little warning, these guys are homeless. And the parents are like, we don't care. We want to ask them to be whatever they name Miyuki. I don't remember what her real name is.
I mean,
not Miyuki.
Kyoko.
whatever they name Kyoko, I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember either.
We want to ask them to be her godfather.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Godfathers.
It's like, really? Really? Because they're Japanese and it's in Tokyo? Tokyo Godfathers? That's the way to make a name. But yeah, the recommended, you have to really look at this as a project.
Truth.
So, to wrap this up, overall, this film had so many twists and turns that make the story both interesting and at the same time hard to watch. At the last 20 minutes of the film, it was a little hard to watch when you literally saw Sasuko willing to die for a baby that wasn't hers at all. She was willing to kill herself for this child, which was maddening to me. Maddening. But then you saw the gripping facts of homelessness and gambling in Japanese culture. It was a big shock to see this throughout the film, because in the United States, you see homelessness and you see like a gambling addiction, but you never see other cultures. And this does show a big shocker factor of it. There were a lot of moments that made the story both exciting and also downright uncomfortable. There were moments of joy, also anger and sadness I felt throughout this film. If you don't look at this as an art piece and you don't really enjoy niche anime, you're not going to enjoy it. So this was an experience that I truly enjoyed, but I will not be watching this for some time because of how hard it was to focus and watch.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You really, it takes a lot to watch this film, and that I'm not shooting down the story because it is a good story, but again, so much put into one film where it could have been better if it were spread out into an actual series.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we're going to wrap up this episode.
What was your final rating for it?
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Originally I had a 7.75, but with my corrections, I'm still calculating it.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. I was looking at mine. I'm like, oh, I only dropped one down. So it was I had originally 7.25, but then it went down to a 7.
Mine is down to a 7.
Yeah. Yeah. So we sevens across the board. Yeah, 7s across the board.
Look at that.
All right, it's about time to wrap up the episode. We are going to be talking about the next week's episode. We're going to talk about the next trailer. Next week's show with the trailer. It is called Metropolis. It's another anime movie. It came out in 2001. Ben, what is up with this like trend of watching early 2000s anime?
You know, I don't know. We just kind of got in a kick and we're like, you know what? Why not?
So this trailer, it's got a lot for it. It's got a lot. There's a lot in this trailer. It is everywhere. And I would honestly say I'd give this probably a 6.
Really?
Yep. What about you?
I actually really like this trailer. Like, it hooked me real quick. I was like, I don't even know what this story is about, but I want to watch it, and I want to watch it now.
Yeah.
So I actually gave it an 8.
Ooh. Okay.
Like, just the way the art was done and how flashy it kind of was, and just, I don't know, it just really attracted me. And I was just like, you know what? I really, really want to watch this.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Yeah. No, it looked good. I'm still trying to find that movie that'll hook me. That'll hook me good.
True.
So I give it a 6. So that will be this week's episode of the Nerdtaku podcast. I am Eli.
And I'm Ben.
Don't forget to follow us on all socials, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. So have a great week, guys.
Thanks for joining us, guys. I really enjoy doing this.
Take care.